Welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2648 and today's date is December 9th, 2021, and the title of the episode is Trap Set. The people will now see the entire economic truth. Let's talk about protecting your wealth. Now, something's not adding up, is it? Stocks are at a record high, but the government just borrowed $5 trillion. Inflation is transitory, but just went up to 6.8%. How much did your wages go up? Gas, electricity? A precious metals IRA with Noble Gold will help you avoid the worst of this. And this month, Noble Gold is giving away a free American the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying plan you start. Start by calling them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Or go to noblegoldinvestments.com or click the link in the description. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, fake news, big tech, they're in big trouble. They don't have a cover story. The people can see exactly what's going on with the economy. And this is a very big problem for them because remember, the central bank hides in the shadows. The central bank doesn't want to be in front and center. And remember, Biden is a puppet taking orders from the puppet masters, which are the private Western central bankers, and yes, many other people. But what do you think happens when people are continually looking at Biden? And we already know from the polls, people are already thinking, well, he's not in control. Who's really in control? They're going to look past Biden and they're going to find out that, wait a minute, there's others that are pulling the strings. And one of the groups is the private Western central banks. And now people are going to say, well, wait a minute. They're the ones who are controlling what's going on in the economy. And people are going to start to realize what they have been doing. Right now, they're looking at Biden, but soon they're going to be looking past this. And this is what the private Western central bankers are so afraid of. Remember, they do everything in the shadows, behind the scenes. They don't want to be out front. They don't even want to be talked about. And this is why they needed a cover story. This is why they needed either a war, a pandemic, or something where they could say, look, over there, this is what's bringing down the economy. This is the problem, not us. We had nothing to do with it. Of course, if you have a great war, yeah, it's going to ruin the economy. If you have a global pandemic and the global economy is shut down, yeah, it's going to ruin the economy. But what happens when you don't have any of that? What happens? Well, you're completely exposed. And if you're completely exposed and people are seeing the economy fall apart every single day, and everyone's seeing inflation, everyone's seeing the supply chain issues, everyone's seeing the problems in the economy, what are people going to do? They're going to look at first the puppet, then pass the puppet the puppet to the puppet masters. And this is why we said yesterday that the Biden administration is working with the fake news to spin everything. And they've already started. Actually, there was a press conference today where they had one of these economic idiots out there trying to explain away why everything is like this, and it's not that bad. I mean, he says something like, oh, yeah, gas has come down. You mean 2 cents, 3 cents? How come he didn't talk about how much it went up? I mean, if it went up by $1 and it came down 3 cents, it's really up by 97 cents. So they're spinning everything to make you think that certain things are happening when they're really not. We'll be talking a little bit more about this and what they said about the economy. But first, we see that Evergrande out in China. Remember 3 months ago, everyone was talking about Evergrande, how it was going to default, and it finally did. Evergrande is officially in default. And we can see the rating agencies already, like Moody's, S&P, they already set their ratings to restricted default status. And Fitch defines a restricted default as indicating an issuer has experienced a default or distressed debt exchange, but has not begun winding up processes such as bankruptcy filing and remains in operation. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but we can see things are starting to fall apart. Now, in the beginning, we were talking about how the news now is spinning the story about the economy to try to convince the people everything that you're witnessing, everything that you're experiencing is not really happening. We have Joe Scarborough out on Twitter saying the following. Based on the data, President Biden and the Democratic Congress are set to preside over the strongest 2-year performance on growth, jobs, and income in decades. Absolutely. It's so true. I mean, this is a clown show right here. We know that this is not happening. Trump, he put out a statement. He says November's job numbers confirm Biden is a failed president. People are seeing right through the fake news. They understand. Remember, there's no cover story. People are experiencing it. People aren't stupid. They know when they're being snowed. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And they're going to keep pushing this. But what is this going to do? It's going to make it worse for them. It's going to make it worse for the fake news. It's going to make it worse for the Biden administration. And it's going to make it worse for the puppet masters, the private central bankers. Because as more and more people hear what they're saying and what they feel is completely different, the belief in the news drops. The belief in the Biden administration drops. The belief in the central bank drops. And this is going to be a complete and utter disaster for them. Now, Trump, he did put out another statement. He says, China first, Biden-linked CCP oil firm hits record production amidst Keystone pipeline cancellation. If you notice, it says Biden-linked CCP oil. And this pointed to an article in the National Pulse letting everyone know that, yes, Biden is working with China. And look, the CCP oil firm is hitting a record production while Biden is canceling everything here. Remember, this is all part of the plan. This is all part of the Great Reset. And we can see exactly what's happening now. What's very interesting is that Trump has been warning us the entire time. Look at the GOP. Look at McConnell. Look what they're going to do with the debt ceiling. He wanted him to use it as a weapon to stop Biden, where he's going to push the infrastructure. Let's talk about protecting your wealth. Now, stocks are at an all-time high. The economy is roaring. Houses are selling in a week. Interest rates are at zero. And the government just printed $5 trillion. What could possibly go wrong? Meanwhile, consumer confidence hit a 10-year low and inflation hit 6.8%, with parts of the U.S. seeing rates as high as 8%. Something's not adding up, is it? So what can you do? You can play it safe. Putting some of your assets into precious metals will keep your money away from the volatile markets and inflation and let you sleep at night. This month, Noble Gold is giving away a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying plan you start. So talk to an expert at Noble Gold and they'll run through the options to keep your money safe. No pressure, no hassling, no call centers, just a chance to speak to someone who knows what they're talking about for once. How refreshing would that be? Start by calling 877-646-5347. That is 877-646-5347, or go to their website, noblegoldinvestments.com, or click the link in the description. Structure bill. Now, of course, this is Congress, but he's going to sign off on it altogether. And I think Trump knew from the very, very beginning that McConnell was going to just give it all away. And he wanted everyone watching and looking at this. And I do believe that this is a trap where he trapped all these people. Remember, going back in time, Trump, he told us about inflation, how it was going to destroy the economy. He also told us, watch and wait to see what they're going to do with taxes. Now, the only way we could see that is if there's some type of infrastructure bill that was passed. And we can see what's happening right now because 14 GOP senators, they went along with McConnell and they decided, okay, we will raise the debt ceiling. And these individuals are Thune, McConnell, Barrasso, Wicker, Capito, Collins, Blunt, Tillis, Murkowski, Burr, Ernst, Cornyn, Romney, and Portman. And you know what's going to happen to these individuals. They will not be voted back in. But I do believe, like I said from the very beginning, that this was a trap because Trump, he already let us know that all of this was coming. The people are going to feel the full wrath of the private Western Central Bank because without feeling the full wrath of the private Western Central Bank and without bringing us into a crisis and without people experiencing it, reaching the precipice of destruction, how are the people going to demand change? It can't happen. So Trump, I do believe that he knows and he knew that this crisis was coming and he's going to work this crisis in his favor. Now, it might seem bad in the very beginning, especially when they pass the infrastructure bill and everyone starts to hear about the real taxes and how much it really costs. And people are going to say, whoa, wait a minute, what just happened here? And people are going to start to come together on what? The economy. You see, the economy, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrats, if they're not doing something in your best interest and you're paying out more and you're losing money each time you go to work and it's going into your savings and you're paying more for everything, it doesn't really matter. People get upset. They don't care. Oh, well, he's a Democrat. I'll keep him there. I mean, I can't buy food. I can't pay my car. But you know what? I'd rather have him there. No, people are going to say, no, this is ridiculous. We need a change. This is not good. And I do believe this is where all of this is bringing us. And eventually what's going to happen, people are going to look past Biden. People are going to look to where the puppet masters are because they already know that he's not in charge. They already know that someone else is in the background controlling him. And I do believe this is going to start to move away from Biden eventually. Now, remember, Trump, he's going to be using this crisis. It's about restructuring the Federal Reserve. It's about removing the private Western central bank system from our daily lives. And it's about returning the economic power back to we the people. Now, he put this statement out and he says, Mitch McConnell just folded on the debt ceiling, a total victory for the Democrats. Didn't use it to kill the $5 trillion real number, Build Back Better, Worse plan that will essentially change the fabric of our country forever. The old crow's 2-month extension and the breakup of the bill into 2 parts gave the Democrats everything they needed. The Dems would have folded completely if Mitch properly played his hand. And if not, the debt ceiling scenario would be far less destructive than the bill that will get passed. He has all the cards to win, but not the guts to play them. Instead, he gives our country away, just like he did with the 2 Senate seats in Georgia and the presidency itself. The old crow is a disaster, and he's absolutely right. And this will usher in the crisis. Trump is going to use the economic crisis to his advantage. Think about it. We have the deep state players, the fake news, big tech, the D's, the private Western Central Bank, bringing the entire economic system down. It's a controlled demolition. The people are watching this. They can spin it all they want. It makes no difference. They have no cover story. And as people watch this, they know who's directly responsible for this. They know what Trump did while he was in the White House. They know he made the economy a lot better, brought down fuel prices, reworked trade deals, placed tariffs on China and Europe, funded the farmers, revitalized certain industries that were completely gone, like the steel industry. And now people are watching this, and they see the economic truth, and they're going to see a lot more of it. And what's going to happen in the end, like we mentioned yesterday, people are seeing the difference between the globalist plan and the nationalist plan. And people now can see the problem with the supply chain. The globalist plan is the problem. We import all these products. They can't get them out to we the people. The nationalist plan, we create the products here and we don't have to worry about that. And guess what? Even Janet Yellen, she's out there saying, okay, with the supply chain issues right now, we're going to have to go look at the nationalist plan where we're going to make things here in America. So Janet Yellen, she is seemingly waving the white flag on globalism, suggesting that the economic nationalist policy will be necessary to reshoring supply chains to the U.S. from overseas. She admitted that it is a so-called protectionist policies that will be vital in reshoring supply chains back to the U.S. to avoid the current ongoing crisis where supply chains has significantly disrupted the American economy. She said it's possible that policies that people will describe as protectionists are going to be necessary in order to create the appropriate incentives to produce things at home. It's already started. This is not just about showing the private Western Central Bank and who and what they are. It's about bringing manufacturing back to the United States. So if the country is watching this play out and the country is now seeing the supply chain issue and it's a globalist supply chain issue and they're seeing that globalism is not working and they realize, well, wait a minute, if we produce it here, it won't matter how many ships are out to sea. If we produce things here in the United States, it's better for us, we the people. And I do believe it has just begun. And this is going to be pushed out there. And as things get a lot worse, people are going to demand that we bring back manufacturing. And how do we bring back manufacturing? How do we convince corporations, hey, why don't you come on back to the U.S. Well, remember all those regulations? Remember all the things they did to get rid of them? Well, if you start removing them and giving these corporations incentives to come back, guess what? They're going to come back. Maybe not right away. They might need a lot of incentives. A lot of the regulations might have to be removed. And remember, when Trump was in the White House, what was he doing? He was removing regulations. For every new one that was passed, 8 had to be removed. What do you think is going to happen moving forward? What do you think is going to happen with all these regulations that the private Western Central Bank put into place, the globalists put into place to move all the manufacturing out of the United States? Most of it's going to be gone, which is going to allow a lot of the corporations, a lot of the manufacturers to come back to the U.S. But sometimes you need to show the people the truth. You need to show the people the two different systems. And you have to have the people demand that we start bringing manufacturers back to the United States. Now, the supply chain, as we know, is going to get a lot worse. Inflation is going to get a lot worse. Taxes are going to get a lot worse. This is all going to bring everyone to the precipice. It's going to wake a lot of people up that have been sleeping for a very long time that weren't really paying attention to the economy. Now they're going to start to realize, you know something, everything that they did was not in our best interest, because look what's happening right now. They're telling us it's okay, but I can't get bread. I can't get certain things on the shelves. I can't get parts. Why? Because we don't produce here in the United States. Maybe we need to bring it back. And I do believe this is just the beginning. And this is going to continue on, and the people are going to reach the precipice, and they're going to demand that all of it's brought back. Trump and the Patriots, they're bringing us to a crisis where the people are going to demand change to this economy, and they're going to get it. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.